Hi, Claude Whitacre here. I'm a sales trainer. I speak to groups of salespeople, sales managers, small business owners. And if your income is dependent on how much you sell and the volume of sales that you generate, then I think that you might be interested in this. Well, a lot of times when I'm speaking to groups of salespeople, somebody in the audience will ask me a question. And one of the questions they ask is about networking. They say, well, when I'm just out and about, what should I do to promote myself to like at parties and business get-togethers and things like that? Well, what most books tell you to do, and what most advisors tell you to do, is take a bunch of business cards and hand out your business cards. Everybody that'll listen, they even call it the 3-foot rule. Everybody within 3 feet, you hand them your business card and tell them what you do. Well, haven't you ever been on the receiving end of somebody like that? It's not fun. Hi, my name is Bob. Hi, I'm Jeff. Let me tell you all about my business. And you're like going, whoa, 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 Jeff. That's not why I'm here. Okay, I'm not here to be monopolized about your business, because so far I don't really care about your business. So please, stop. And you're pushing people away. And here's why that happens: because we have an instinct to run when chased. See, we have an instinct to run when chased, but we also have an instinct to chase when somebody's running from us. Okay? So here's how you do this. You want to, when you're in a situation where you're networking or you're in a business meeting with a group of business owners or a bunch of salespeople or somebody that could, that this group could possibly be a prospect for you, people in this group could possibly be a prospect for you, what you want to do is you want them to come to you. And here's how that works. When somebody asks you what you do for a living, you have a set thing that you want to say. Well, here's how to get them. The first question is, how do you get people to ask you what you do for a living? And the answer may be obvious to a few of you. The way you get people to ask what you do for a living is you ask them what they do for their living. See? And so when I say, oh, by the way, what kind of work do you do? Hi, my name is Claude. What kind of work do you do? And they'll start talking about their business. Now, usually they'll only spend like 30 seconds telling about what they do, or they'll say it in a very general way, like, I'm an insurance salesman, or I drive a taxi, or whatever it is that they do. So they're going to give you a very, very quick thing about what you do. And you might even ask them one more question. You'll say, well, so how do you get clients? How would I know if I was going to refer somebody to you, how would I know that they're a good referral for you? Well, I like to ask that question. Why? Because it sounds like I'm interested, which I am, but it also sounds like that I'm looking out for their business. I'm trying to, improve their business. So they're going to be more likely to talk about, oh well, here's how you would know if they're a good referral for me, because they're the kind of person that, is building onto their house, or they're whatever the thing is, they're going to tell you about it. And now you're engaged in a short conversation. Well, eventually what's going to happen is they're going to say, so what kind of work do you do? All right? And what I say when somebody says, what kind of work do you do? Now, I actually have several businesses. One of the businesses that I sell, for example, if you're looking right here, you can see I have a retail store. One of the things I own is a retail store, and we sell vacuum cleaners. So when somebody asks me if I'm local here and I'm not talking to other business owners, I'm talking to general people from the area, they'll say, by the way, Claude, what do you do? I'll say, I own a retail store and I sell $899 vacuum cleaners for $399. And I just say that. That's all I say. I don't say anything else. Now, when I say that, there's going to be one of a couple of different reactions to that. One of the reactions is going to be, which is normal, they're going to say, oh, that's interesting, and they're going to change the subject and talk about something else. Why? Because they're not a prospect. See, that's how they're going to identify to you if they're a prospect or not. They just won't ask you any questions about it. Now, why is that harmless? See, if you just say, oh, I own a retail store and I sell $899 vacuum cleaners for $399. See, if they're not a prospect for a new vacuum cleaner, or if they're not interested in knowing more about vacuum cleaners, they're just going to either change the subject or go, oh yes, look at that dip, or oh, look at the sandwiches over there, or did you meet Joe over here? Hi, how you doing, Joe? They're just going to change the subject. No, they're not. You're not monopolizing them. You're not being mean to them. They're not walking away from you. They ask you what you do for a living, and you say it in a very quick, easy to understand way that gives them a benefit. Okay? If they're a prospect, it gives them a benefit. Now, you don't want to say a benefit to somebody if they're not a prospect. See? You want to give them a benefit so that if they're a prospect, they will be drawn more towards you. For example, somebody might say, if I say, we sell vacuum cleaner, $899 vacuum cleaners for $399. They might say, oh, well, how do you do that? Oh, well, we don't pay for a lot of advertising, and so not very much money that you spend on the vacuum cleaner goes for advertising, so we can, we buy in quantity and we can give a good discount. We service everything we sell. By the way, and then I'll change the subject. I'll say, oh, by the way, do you see Joe over there? And I'll start talking about Joe. Well, here's what they'll do now. If they are really a prospect, they will change the subject back to the vacuum cleaners or back to the thing that they're interested in buying. See? That's when you know that they're really a prospect. See, you're the one changing the subject. You're the one that's, getting them to ask, what you do for a living. You're the one who just gives them a very quick benefit, and if that benefit doesn't apply to them, they ignore it and they just go on. It's like saying, how are you? I am fine. And everybody completely forgets what you just said. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. Great. And everybody forgets that just happened, and they go on with whatever they're going to say. The same thing with, let's say you own my retail store and you say I sell $899 vacuum cleaners for $399. And they go, okay, well, that's interesting. Yeah, retail, is that a hard job? No, it's really quite easy. We do a good business. And I'll just tell them that, and then I'll change the subject. See? Why? Because if they're really a prospect, they will come back to you and start asking you questions. Why? Remember, because if you're acting like you're walking away, they're pursuing you. That's the natural thing for them to do, is pursuing you. What you want is that. You want people asking you about your business and asking about your specials, or you want them asking about, oh, how do you do that? How do you have this benefit? I'm going to give you another example. I have another business, which is what I do most of my business, where I do local online marketing. I sell local online marketing packages for small businesses. And somebody says, if I'm in a networking organization, or if I'm in a business conference or something like that, somebody says, what do you do for a living? I say, I provide high quality leads and sales to small business owners that already have a website. Now, why do I say it exactly like that? Because if they don't have a website, you know what they're going to want to know? The first thought, if you were that person, if you were a person that owned a small business, remember, I sell high quality leads and sales, or I provide high quality leads and sales to small business owners who already have a website. Well, first of all, if they're not a small business owner, I don't want to talk to them about that. I mean, I'll talk to them about something else, but they'll just qualify themselves. They'll hear that and go, well, I'm not that guy. And then they'll say, okay, that's interesting. By the way, you see that dip over there? That's really kind of interesting. How about that tree? They're going to talk about something else now. If they say, so how do you provide leads? And I say, well, there's a variety of ways that I do it. I actually help the people generate leads online, and it's very inexpensive to do that if you know exactly what you're doing. And then I'll change the subject. And by the way, you see Bob over there? Yeah, Bob's a friend of mine, and we were fishing, da-da-da-da-da. Why? Why am I doing that? Because I want them to go, wait, I want to know more about this. Tell me more about your online thing. Oh, okay. And then, of course, that's what I want them to do. But I don't want them to do that unless they're really interested, see? Because I don't want them to ever perceive that I'm pursuing them. See, I want them to always perceive that they're pursuing me, because whoever is being pursued, that person is in control of that situation and that conversation. Okay? And by the way, another thing that they'll do is they'll say, well, I'll say that provide high quality leads and sales for people that already own, or small business owners that already own a website. And at the end of it, they're thinking, well, why do you already have to own a website? See? Well, first of all, the reason I say that for people that already own a website is because I want that to stick in their mind, and it sounds like I'm excluding everybody else. And I am. Because frankly, if you own a small business and you don't even have a website, what I sell is probably a little advanced, a little complicated, probably something you're not ready for. Okay? So if you don't own a website, you're not mindful of online marketing enough to benefit from what I'm going to be talking about. So I don't want that to be pursued. I don't want to be pursued by that prospect anymore. But a lot of times what will happen is they'll say, well, I have a website. Why do you need a website? Oh, well, because if you're like most people, you already have a website, but it's not generating the traffic and generating the clients that you would like. Is that right? And they go, well, yeah. And then I'll say, well, do you ever have somebody a client tell you that they found you online? Yeah. Would you like more of those people? Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we should talk. is that okay? And they go, yeah, that sounds good. And then I'll just make a time and I'll come over and I'll talk to them. Well, so I'm making it sound like that they have to come to me, see? That's why celebrities, when you're asking them for an autograph, they don't run after you and say, excuse me, do you want an autograph? Hey, would you like an autograph? Hey, guys over there, would you like an autograph? And they're not yelling after you, would you like an autograph? Why? Because if you're pursuing them, they run away. See, now they're not your fans. Now you're their fan. See, and that's not what you want. You want them to be your fan. So you want them to pursue you. You want them to come after you because they want to do business with you. Okay? If you'd like to know more about how to do that, I devote an entire section in my book, Sales Prospecting. I devote an entire section about networking, but I also talk about referrals and cold calling and all the different kinds of marketing and prospecting that you can do to generate tons and tons of highly likely prospects that are looking to buy from people like you. Okay? It's on Amazon.com. Hope you read it. Thank you.